with their projects or places to look for sustainable types of materials. Do you have any websites or literature where they could turn to? Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of resources online that are free and a great place to go. There's two in particular that I think everybody should check out. One is called greenhomeguide.com, and it's a free website, and you can find green building materials and read reviews and recommendations about them. And the second one is called buildinggreen.com, which has a series of case studies and information about everything you could possibly imagine. And then I guess one more just to look at would be greenerbuildings.com, which has just a wealth of resources and information about everything that you're looking at.
Thanks, Eric. I want to bring it to South Plantation. You have another comment or question for Eric today. Thank you.
Hi, Sean. I was trying to go back to the water conservation, and I was wondering if the water for to like water grass and wash cars, how clean does that water need to be, and can you reuse it with like the same thing as the washing your hands for your toilets, like that kind of thing? Could you reuse it? Thank you.
Well, it's a great question, because all of the water in your home is all completely clean and drinkable. But the funny thing is that it doesn't really all need to be, because the water in the toilet doesn't need to be drinkable, because hopefully none of you are drinking out of the toilet. Or if you are, you should stop right away, right? Except for maybe the dog, nobody's drinking out of the toilet, but we're flushing clean drinking water down the drain all the time. So if we started thinking about water in terms of the clean water that we drink and wash our hands with versus the soapy water that we could water our lawns with and flush our toilets with, we could start to think differently about how water is used. And we could use water more than once. So you could wash your hands in the sink or collect all the water from your laundry machine and take all that soapy water and store it in a big thing and then use that to flush the toilets. And we could save an immense amount of water that way. But you're right. Right now, everything's set up just to use fresh, clean drinking water everywhere. And it's really wasteful.
That's a great question. I mean, I hope also that no one's drinking out of the toilet, Eric, as you said. But the question I have is, you mentioned earlier how we all draw from the same water source, whether it be that sewer or that connecting plumbing that's outside our house. So is it expensive then when we drive it in or pull it into our home to then reconfigure it to do what you're saying? Is that expensive for people to do, or are there more economical ways for people who want to start on this road to be more sustainable? Thank you.
To do it everywhere in your home is expensive, especially in your existing home, because the pipes are already in the walls and you're not going to rip up the walls to get to the pipes. But you could do it individually. So in our home, we have this little box that just connected, through a series of little connectors to the bottom of the sink. And then every time we wash our hands, that soapy water just stays in that box, and then it runs a little tiny tube to the one toilet. So we don't do it through everywhere in the house. We just do it in one bathroom. But we only use that one bathroom anyway, So it wasn't expensive. It was, I think, $300 for that whole setup. So there's easier things like that. There's even simpler things you can do, such as take an empty soda bottle, like a 2-liter soda bottle, and wash it out and fill it with water, and then put that in the back of your toilet, and then just hide it in the back of the toilet there. And what it does is it keeps half a gallon of water from going down the toilet every time you flush. It just essentially displaces that water from being used. So it converts your toilet to a low-flow toilet. And it's an easy thing that you could do in 30 seconds. In fact, everybody should do it tonight.
Thanks, Eric. So we have about 4 minutes left. So I want to have the schools have a chance to give their last question or comment. So Westmount Charter, do you have any comments or questions? Thank you.
No, I think we're pretty much good here. Eric's given us all the information that we need, so thanks.
Great, thanks Westmount Charter. South Plantation, do you have any closing remarks or have a last minute question or comment for Eric today? Thank you.
Hi, my name's Corlin. I wanted to know if you were building like a whole new building, how much would it be to, you know, have the whole building just come out as a whole like green building? If it's like a whole new, you know, type of system, would that be a really expensive cost at all? Thank you.
Well, it's a good question. It really depends on how you define green. You know, we could make a building such that whenever it rains, all that rainwater is collected on the roof, and then that water is diverted into a series of plants, and the plants clean up the water, and then we use that in the sinks, and then the soapy water from the sinks are then run to the toilets, and then the poo water from the toilets is then run back to another series of plants, and the plants clean all that naturally, and then we circulate the water back. All the building can be built out of natural materials that are all made locally and don't give off harmful chemicals. And then we could put solar panels on the roof or a wind turbine and produce all the energy that we need in that building. We can do all that now. And would it cost more? Yeah, it would cost maybe 5% more. But if you're only looking at the upfront cost of the building. In truth, the real impact of the building is not in the construction. The real impact of the building is in the operation of the building. Like your school was probably built a while ago, and the real money that's spent is in the electricity and the energy and all that other stuff that goes into it. So if we're smart about how we design the building now, it'll pay for itself 10 times over in the life of the building. So we really can't afford not to build green buildings.
Thank you, Eric. So if that's it from Westmount and South Plantation, South Plantation, I just want to check, do you have a comment based on what Eric said, or do you have a last question again? Thank you.
No, thank you. We're good.
Okay, great. So I want to thank you, South Plantation and for Westmount for joining us, and I wish you luck on your projects. I really hope that G&G gets to hear how your projects have successfully been completed towards the end and what types of materials you use. And Eric, thank you so much for your time. It's been very interesting since it was my first time on this project moderating, so thank you for joining us today. And I hope that everyone has learned a lot from today's session. And if you have any questions, please email Grace, and I'm sure she could put you into contact with Eric. I'm hoping you might be free to answer some questions if students have some more. But it's been great being with all of you today. Thank you. Eric, are you still connected?
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks again for joining us. I'm sure Grace will be in touch with you. I just wanted to, it was really intriguing for us as well, so thanks.
Oh, sure. It was my pleasure. Thanks.
Okay. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too.